Hello everyone, welcome to another video. And today I want to talk about life being unfair. And I think this is something we can all agree about, that life is unfair and the good things in life and the bad things in life and what life has to offer does not distribute equally for each one of us, whether it's where we are born, to whom we are born, in which circumstances we are born, in what time, in what year, or that kind of stuff. And also life events, sometimes life throw at us certain stuff and situation that we feel like the world is coming down on us and we feel that is unfair, which is true. Sometimes life is unfair. And I just want to talk about it a little bit in today's video. Because I really think that it's something that we all should accept and understand. And I will go a little bit deeper into that and what I think of that, So I think that, first of all, if you are a privileged person that is living in a Western society and has a roof over your head and breathe air and you have the basic needs in order to survive, which is probably 99% of the people watching this video, then in my opinion you should wake up in the morning and be grateful about what you have. Because you already got a lot more to your life than a lot of other people around the world, So let's say you are born in a poor town in Africa, Maybe you don't have as much food, maybe you don't have as much resources, maybe you don't have as much money as a person who was born and live in, for example, the Netherlands, right? So, and this is by the end of chance. We don't choose where we are born, We don't choose to which parents we are born. And I also talked about it in the video about what are the odds, What are the odds that you are born in a certain place? But you can go and watch that. That's a whole nother topic, but so we can all agree on that, that the life and the resources and the starting point, if you will, of a person who is born in a certain place compared to another person who was born in a certain place are different. And I feel like also at what time you are born has also meaning. And I mean and when I'm saying what time, I mean in what year, what is the period you are born in? Do you have opportunities as much as if you were born in another period, in another time, And one really good book that you can read about it is Outliers, which is exactly talks about that. And I did mention already this book in one of the videos. So basically we can agree that life is unfair from the beginning, basically. And also in the Western world, it doesn't mean that if you are born in the Western world, life cannot be unfair, But what I mean is that you can always compare yourself if you are born in the Western world, which is again probably most of the people who are watching this video. You can say already that your life is pretty much good if you look on the basic needs that you need to survive, compared to another person that doesn't live in the Western world, in the Western society. So in my opinion, first of all, you need to say already thank you. But also within the Western world, you have also different countries, different situations, different political situations, different economies, different rules, different governments, And overall, I'm mentioning all of this because I think we need to understand that sometimes life is unfair. And I think we can all agree on that. And let me tell you another thing. We can all think of someone, I think, that was born into bad circumstances or poor circumstances and eventually grew up and evolved to be someone we are all admire, whether if it's sports people, like boxers. We all know some boxers, professional boxers who had a really poor upbringing, or football players, we all know that, and NBA players, rappers, singers, whatever, we can all think of someone that took the circumstances they had and turn it into motivation in order to make their life better. So this is also something I want to address, because if you feel like your life and your starting point was so bad, that you feel like life is unfair, you might be right, because life is unfair. But a lot of the time you have this one thing over everybody else. And this one thing is that you can take all of this pain and all of this unfairness and all of this experience and anger that you have, and you can flip it and turn it into motivation to do better, into motivation to become somebody, and motivation to show yourself and the world that you can come out of that template that you were forced to born in, And I'm not saying everybody can do it. I'm not saying everybody should do it, but it is possible, because we all know stories like that. We all know stories of people who took that pain and anger and unfairness feeling and turned it into something better, And I think this is something that privileged people don't have. Same goes to people who are born with a lot of money, to rich parents, compared to people who are born to parents without so much money, Who of the two you think will have more motivation to do better and become greater, I would put my bet on the person who was born to people with not a lot of money, because you don't take success and you don't take progress and you don't take achievements for granted, same as a person who was born in a very privileged place would, And I think that's the main point of why we could see a lot of those people who came from nothing and became something in a lot of branches of sports or whatever, or business or whatever. And I want to say another thing. So the fact that life is unfair and accepting that life is unfair can and will affect to a certain degree on all of us mentally, You can dive into big depression and anger, self-anger, and just say that life is unfair, and you're probably right, you have good reasons to believe, to think, and to say that, but I think that accepting the fact that life is unfair does not mean a passive resignation, Well, it does mean that we are acknowledging the fact that life is unfair, and we are acknowledging that we can do stuff only over the things we have control of, and this is what we need to focus on, because you can, as I said, you cannot focus on where you're born, you cannot focus on to whom you're born, you cannot focus on in which country you're born and what are your economic state when you're born, etc. But think about the things you can control. What is in my control that I can work on and change towards a better future, a better life, a better future that will benefit me, And it's not an easy question. It's not an easy things to confront with yourself, but I really think that this is one of the only ways to really deal with that, with the fact that life is unfair. You are right. But what can you control of that can change your life direction, And I think this is one way that helps me to deal with unfair situations, As much as I am privileged, and I am aware of that. I was born in a really privileged place, and I have pretty much really privileged life, I'm not rich and my family is not rich, but again, compared to the world, the average person of the world, I'm very privileged, And in times of unfairness, I also remember that. So this is also another thing that I would recommend of just remember who you are and what is your life compared to the rest of the world. Is your life really, really unfair, or it's just what you make of it, you know? How many people would want to be in your shoes, you know? How many people would pay in their life in order to have the food you have, you know, in order to have the friends you have, in order to have the house you have, you know, the clothes you have. So this is also something that helps me to go through that feeling of unfairness, you know, that I'm kind of meeting reality and put it here in my face, you know, because I am privileged. And I'm saying thank you, you know, I'm really grateful for the life I have, and every day I'm saying thank you. Just being grateful for what you have is already one step to deal with unfairness feeling, and also try to focus on what you can control, because that's the only thing that matters, you know. Something unfair happens to you, it might be unfair. Can you control it? Can I control it? If my answer to myself is no, then I move on and I try to think about the things that I can control. And it is okay to be sad, it is okay to feel certain things about your situation, but at the end of the day, you're gonna have to move forward and understand that if you don't have control over it, it does not matter. And action is the only way to change, you know? And yeah, I think this is the main point I wanted to talk with you about today. And I think I can really keep talking about it for a long time, but I think I made the point clear. And just to conclude it, I think you should look at life as a journey, you know? And in life, we have a lot of unfair things and we have a lot of great things as well, you know? But as long as you have the right perspective on who you are and the right perspective on how privileged is your life compared to the rest of the world, you know, you might find that your life might not be as unfair as you think they are, you know? And some people would die to be where you are right now in life. But life is all about the journey, and you learn from everything, and from every unfair situation, you just grow and you learn, and that's part of it, you know? But I really think we need to accept the idea that life sometimes can be unfair to us, and we just need to accept it, you know? And not be angry about ourselves, not be angry about life, and not be angry at all, you know. And it's okay to be sad again, but at one point you just need to look at the things you can change rather than the things you cannot change. Because if you're gonna focus on the things you cannot change, you're gonna have a long journey ahead of you, a long journey down, basically, you know. So yeah, this is what I wanted to talk about today. If you guys are not subscribed yet, please do. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much.